The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida. This is episode 8B of the Finding Florida podcast on the Florida Podcast Network, Finding the Fancy in Fort Lauderdale.
And we hope you're ready for an adventure.
Welcome to Finding Florida, the podcast that takes you from country to the coast. Join your tour guides, an unlikely pair, city girl Jemmy and country boy Glenn, as they explore the amazing sights and sounds of the Sunshine State.
Last month, we walked through history on the Tampa Bay Riverwalk. If you missed it, go back and take a listen to episodes 7A and B, and the bonus episode 7C. This month, we do a road trip as we head south to Jemmy's old stomping ground of Fort Lauderdale. Everyone has always thought of Fort Lauderdale for one thing, a party town for spring breakers. Well, we are here to show you the other side of Fort Lauderdale, the fancy side.
That's right. So stay tuned as we take Glenn out of his comfort zone with a trip to the spa, some fine dining, I suspect a lot of seafood, dinner shows, boat rides, fancy historic houses, and a mermaid show.
Woohoo, mermaids.
Yeah, that's your favorite part, I bet.
Ever see a friendship form out of the blue? Or a picture worth more than 1,000 words? Do you know how to speak awesome? Or just find yourself in awe? In a place where happy meets go lucky, it's time to leave the to-do list in the dust. Hello, Sunny. Get to know Greater Fort Lauderdale at sunny.org.
We are about ready to begin, and we just want to let you know that all of the pictures and videos from our adventure will be available in our show notes and on social media.
Well, it's an absolutely beautiful Thursday morning. It's about 9 a.m., and this adventure is about to begin. We are on a road trip this month to show you the fancy side of Fort Lauderdale. And it is truly a road trip because we are spending 3 days in Fort Lauderdale, and we're driving. We're driving from Jemmy's residence about an hour away every day down to Fort Lauderdale and home every night. So
it's the same stripper road, but that's a minor detail, right?
It's just, so it truly is a road trip. And we wanted to really, Fort Lauderdale through the years has had the reputation of just being a party town. And spring breakers come here, college kids get drunk and throw up everywhere. And that's what the reputation of Fort Lauderdale's been. We really want to help you understand that that's
the thing of the past, man.
That's the thing of the past. It
really
truly is. And it's 1 month, really, of the year.
Exactly. And Fort Lauderdale is all about, sitting back, relaxing. They're kind of a work hard, play hard kind of town. So when they do decide to relax, they really just, it's like everything else just shuts off, but they just go into a different mood and relax. And a lot of the things that we ended up with on our list are things that take a little bit extra time. So that's kind of why we decided to stretch this out over a few days and just go back and forth to Fort Lauderdale during the stuff.
Yeah, to be selfish, a lot of times we try and accomplish many things in one day. We try and get 10, 12 things done in one day.
Yeah. And
we don't get to enjoy them as much as we'd like because we're getting them done. Yeah, here, we really wanted to enjoy it.
We said, you know what? I think we're doing this wrong. Let's this up for just this episode.
So we're going to do that. And Fort Lauderdale has seen a huge revitalization, and there's a whole bunch of new hotels being built, restaurants, all kinds of things, which you learned about in the last episode. So let's get on the road.
I'm excited.
myfortlauderdalebeach.com. The big events, the small events, and everything that you can do in this area.
So we are here at our first stop, and where are we, Ashley?
You are at the Heavenly Spa at the Westin Fort Lauderdale Beach Resort.
And this is really funny because our first fancy stop at Fort Lauderdale is something Jemmy and I have never done before.
We're full of firsts.
I know, and it's a spa. Neither one of us. I'm 55. I've never been to a spa.
No, and we've done spa-like things, like a massage here and there, or I've gone to mani-pedi at a nail place, but I've never been to an actual bona fide spa.
My feet are now in a bucket of hot water. So we'll see what comes next. What am I having next, by the way?
It's a foot bowl. It's not a bucket.
Okay.
Come Come on, Glenn. Use the right terminology. Get it right.
I'll try and keep up.
Jeez.
And you're sitting in a nice pedicure chair.
I am.
Where you can get a nice little massage while you're sitting here. So we're going to give you kind of a mini version of one of our newest treatments designed specifically for men. It was actually inspired by something I was doing at home with my boyfriend because he has like the worst feet ever. So he'll kill me if he hears this.
Yeah, you just called him out.
Can't be mine.
Okay, we all know, like, you know, and we've seen a lot of change, but, you know, men are still a little skeptical about coming into the spa. We're seeing more and more men every day, and actually we just came out with a new spa menu specifically for men.
They groom, but they still prefer to do it in private.
But we know, okay, guys, we know your feet are like the worst.
Right.
And so you can come in and get the Soul Saver pedicure. It is an 80-minute experience. And so we're going to do all of your nail grooming. We're doing
the Reader's Digest version.
I just want to let you know what she's up against, because he's a horse guy.
Yeah,
so he's got a farm and a barn and boots all day.
It's perfect for it. So we're going to scrub your legs and your feet. We're going to give you a nice massage and relaxing. And then the full 80-minute treatment is actually going to include a baby foot peel, which I'm going to show you. I know they can't see this.
No babies are harmed in the making of it.
You can see what they'll do is it's botanical, it's natural ingredients. It's a little foot booty that fits over your feet, and it will sit on your feet for about an hour. What that does is it actually, you know, the feet are the thickest part of your skin, so it's really hard to penetrate, which is why this treatment takes an hour for you to sit in it. So after you sit in it, you'll rinse your feet, and we're going to put some moisturizer on and massage your feet for you. You're not going to see truly how amazing this experience is until about 2 weeks after you visited us. So 3 to 5 days after the treatment, your skin's going to start to feel a little rough and dry, and that's just about where you're going to start to peel, like as if you had a sunburn or something. There's no pain or anything. You don't really feel anything. When you shower, if you go swimming,
it's like sloughing off your skin like a reptile.
Yes, it's like a snake.
The more, you know, you swim, shower, things like that, it's just going to help further the exfoliation process. Once your feet have peeled, as the name of the product describes, your feet will feel as smooth as a baby's body.
Aww.
And then you can just continue on with that and, you know, keep the maintenance up at home. In fact, they have the product you can take home with you, so that if you like it, what my boyfriend and I do is we'll go and like watch a movie or something, and I'll do a little foot treatment on it.
Couples that peel together stay together.
Yes. So you can do it at home too.
And right now, Jemmy's got her feet wrapped in towels.
They do, and they feel amazing already.
We're getting ready to do reflexology.
And you really don't like your feet touched. So
no,
this is a
I'm
miracle.
trusting. And your name is again? Annetta, my feet are in your hands.
And Annetta might have hair that matches yours, Jimmy.
No, her hair is more badass than mine, and I'm jealous. You're so cool. Gosh.
They're in good hands.
Thank you.
Better than Allstate.
Oh.
People like her laughing, so if you could tickle her every
Stop
once
it.
in a while,
Stop talking. No more talking from you. No more suggestions whatsoever.
If you really want a fancy service, come back when you have at least an hour, and Annetta has the magical touch. All of her guests love her. She's a massage therapist.
She told me that we should have been doing a massage instead. She said we should be getting the couples massage.
Well, this is good. Also, this is a shorter version because this is reflexology. It touches every part of the body. It's a system, and it targets everywhere.
It's purposeful.
Right.
Well, I have to brag on the girls. You guys are sitting with two of the best. Annetta, like I said, she's a massage therapist, and she also does skincare as well. And then Trin, she's an esthetician and a nail technician, so she does skincare and nails. With their help, we have become the #1 rated resort spa in Fort Lauderdale.
Yay, good for you guys.
TripAdvisor. So,
well done. So we just got to take a really quick tour of this beautiful facility, and I know a lot of what you highlighted was just how people can really take advantage of what you're offering during the course of their day. So in the midst of their traveling, whether to or from the cruise ships or to or from the airport. So how close are we really to those things?
We are super close. We're just a couple miles from the cruise port, and we're probably about a 15-minute drive over to the airport. So we're really conveniently located, and of course here where we are on the beach, we have the best view, and there's so many things within walking distance they can do while they're here visiting our spa.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Where are we, Ashley?
You are at the Heavenly Spa at the Westin Fort Lauderdale Beach Resort.
So we just got done at the Westin in the spa.
Heavenly Spa. It speaks up to its name.
It was, and they were so nice in there.
Oh, they were.
And my toes have never looked so good.
Man.
And your eyeballs have never looked so good.
Let me tell you, Trin and Annetta, you guys are brave. You took on your feet and my eyeballs.
So both of our first time in a spa, and I can see why people like spas. It's very relaxing.
Yes. Oh, I feel like
especially for both type A's like us.
We should just be laying in bed the rest of the day.
Yes. I actually wish that we were doing the whole day in the spa because we could have got a massage,
so
and they had hot tubs.
And it smelled so fresh and good in there.
I can relax some more in there. I really could. All
right. Well, sorry to say, we have another stop.
We have to go suffer
through
for
a very delicious lunch from the W.
Yeah.
How will we survive?
Next, we're up to the W Hotel on the wet deck, which apparently is like the pool deck that overlooks the ocean. By the way, can we just comment real quick? We are standing here looking at Fort Lauderdale Beach.
It's
and
beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful.
People walking around in bikinis, enjoying the water. I didn't notice that. I'm glad you pointed it out. You're very welcome. I'm surprised I had to point it out to you.
But there's not many people on the beach today. It's quiet.
But it's really, it's beautiful day. We have a picture perfect. You know, as usual, we are gifted with great weather.
Yeah.
Quick mention on the Westin is that it's such a huge property with different buildings, but each building has an overpass that you can walk through to get to the beach. So right from the building, you just walk literally over the street to get to the beach. It almost feels like you're in a cruise terminal when you're doing it. But
my feet are so clean now, I don't want to walk on the sand.
I know, right? It would be an extra exfoliation, I suppose, wouldn't it?
All right, everybody, well, come along with us to lunch as we find a very fancy lunch at the
wet deck at the W. Woohoo!
Hello and welcome to W Fort Lauderdale.
That's awesome.
Well, we are at our second stop now. We walked down a couple of buildings along the beach, and we are now at the W Hotel, which is very modern and very cool. And we have Haley here with us, and they've been treating us like royalty. Let me tell you, we walked into champagne, which I don't know who gave you the warning that this is my favorite drink of all time.
But, we had a feeling.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And now we're sitting on the 5th floor outside at the most beautiful pool I've seen with the most beautiful view of the ocean. This is really cool out here. So what's this deck called?
Yeah, so we call this the wet deck. We actually have two.
How'd you get that name? That was a tough one to come up with.
I know, right? Just like it sounds. So yeah, we have two wet decks on property. This is our wet east pool deck, so we are facing the gorgeous ocean, and then our wet west pool deck is on the other side of the building, and that one has gorgeous intercoastal water views.
Oh wow.
So two water view wet decks in beautiful Fort Lauderdale. What more can you ask for?
That's one thing that we're very lucky to have in this area is we do have water views on both sides of us, right? And so you go down to South Beach, you have water views on both sides. You go up a ways, water views on both sides. So you guys are really being smart and capturing the opportunity to have your guests and visitors see both. This is amazing. And tell us about the pool, because the pool is fantastic.
W apparently is known for being a little frisky, because you have something in your pool I've never seen before.
Yeah, so we actually have a peekaboo pool.
Ooh.
So as you come up the stairs to our wet deck from our living room, you get to see this beautiful acrylic structure, and there's actually peekaboo glass, so as the swimmers swim, you can actually see them from our living room.
I mean, come on.
The stairs come right up in the middle of the pool.
Yeah, you just walk right through the center of our pool to come up to our wet deck, and we actually have swimmers who love to swim by the acrylic. We have our hashtag W Fort Lauderdale right on the glass, so we get lots of pictures on there as well.
You do.
That's so smart. I love it. That's amazing.
On the weekends, we actually have DJs on Saturdays and Sundays from 12 to 5. So there's always music and something going on for our guests.
Oh my gosh. And surrounding the pool is, let's talk about that for a minute. You have a bar, so you can get all of the drinks that you could ask for. We're about to get served a meal, so they have food here that looks delicious. And they also have, beds, so you can actually rent a bed, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's really, we have it all up here. So we have our full bar. We actually refer to our food and beverage on property as B&F because it's all about the cocktails. So we have delicious signature cocktails that you can order frozen, on the rocks, on ice. And then we have these beautiful day beds. We have gray beds.
There's a lot of day beds, and the day beds overlooking the ocean look really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just so you can lounge, soak up all the rays of that South Florida sunshine, and enjoy with a cocktail in here.
And there are no bikinis here. I'm just saying that for my wife's benefit. None at all.
And that's totally not a lie.
Can I throw this out here, too, being my wife and I cruise a lot, and you're always looking for that hotel the night before you get on the cruise. Yeah. This is a perfect spot for that, because this really gets you ready. It's a very cruise feel to it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We definitely do pre- and post-cruise stays here. We have lots of guests. We're very close to Port Everglades, so we have lots of guests who come in.
It's like a mile away, isn't it?
It's very close.
So the guests who aren't here for, let's say, a convention or, baked-in business reasons, what are some of the fun things they like to do in the surrounding area?
Along the beach, you have this gorgeous path. We have W Fort Lauderdale bicycles that guests can take out for the day, take them up and down. We have Birch State Park right here.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the beach literally is across the street. It's right there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's beautiful. I mean, the view from up here on the 5th floor is great. I mean, this is just beautiful. And it's a beautiful day, too.
It's paradise, definitely.
Yeah. If you're coming to town, this is a great hotel to bring people to experience the beach because it's just beautiful. And you can experience the pool and everything. Do you guys have people who come into the hotel who aren't necessarily staying here?
Yeah, so our living room is actually open to locals. So every night of the week we have something fantastic going on in our living room. Every night is programmed with a different theme. So on Saturdays, for example, we have Neon Nights, which is a throwback to the 80s.
Totally my jam.
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
It's honestly such a blast. We have different drink specials as well. So we have $88 bottles of Veuve Clicquot. So throwback to the 80s. We have $8 Belvedere cocktails, and we have a fabulous DJ who's spinning all your favorite 80s songs.
Oh my God. All right, so I know what we're doing Saturday.
Absolutely, yeah. We just did a major $55 million renovation as well. So this entire space that you're sitting in has all been renovated, as well as the rest of the property. And what you were seeing downstairs when you walked in, we have amazing restaurants by Steven Starr. So Steven Starr just won the James Beard Award for Best Restaurateur. We have a brand new restaurant that just opened called El Vez. It's a Mexican concept. And then we have our Steak 954 restaurant as well with this gorgeous 50-foot jellyfish tank. It's a lot of fun. You see them glowing in the dark at night. So that's great. And then we have our sushi bar as well. So you have the freshest catch here.
Right up your alley. She loves sushi.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of different dining options on property, so you never have to leave with our programming, our gorgeous wet decks, our amazing culinary on property. You have everything you could ever ask for.
Very good. What's the website?
So we have WFortLauderdaleHotel.com.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have you guys here. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Haley.
So we just got done at the W Hotel eating a fantastic lunch. I had the caprese sandwich, which I've never had as a sandwich before, not as a salad. It was so good. It was really good. And you had?
I had some unbelievably delicious seared tuna tacos. Probably the best tuna tacos I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, because you know what? The tuna was cooked perfectly. But then above and beyond that, they actually cut the tuna into small pieces.
Wait a minute. That's the Lifeline helicopter coming to get Jemmy.
I didn't have that much to drink. So they cut the tuna into little pieces, which made it a lot easier to eat. When you took a bite, you didn't end up dragging out an entire piece of fish. So it was nice, and it was just cooked perfectly. And the shells were nice and crispy.
It was really good, and the atmosphere up there on the deck 5, on the wet deck with the pool and everything, it was so beautiful. Very relaxing.
I mean, they have a way of making you feel like you're literally on top of the world because you're sitting up on the 5th floor and a gorgeous overhead view of the beach, and then they treat you like royalty. So they do it. It's over the top.
It was over the top, and people looked like they were enjoying their day here in Fort Lauderdale. And now we are walking, 3 blocks up. We are walking up A1A, 3 blocks with the ocean to our left, which is blue today, and we are heading to the Ritz Carlton to the rum room. Are we Is it a room just filled with rum?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll let you know.
We are over here at the Ritz Carlton, and we are in the company of greatness with Paula De Silva, who is a chef that we are so lucky to have in our own backyard here in Fort Lauderdale along the beach. Hello, Paula. Tell us about you and where we are and your time here and what room we're in. This room is awesome.
It's a great room. I don't know if you guys are going to want to leave after this. I don't know if I want to leave after and go back to the kitchen.
The only reason I might leave is that seafood tower.
The seafood
tower. That is my favorite.
We do need to eat that.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for having me. And we are at Burlock Coast inside of the Ritz Carlton in Fort Lauderdale. We're right inside of the rum room. So this particular room here, we like to host some very private dinners. And as you can see, it's amazing. 50 kinds of rum.
Right in this room?
Yeah, we do. So we can fit about 6 or 8 people in here comfortably. And it's a great space for you to have sort of a private room. You're still in the restaurant. You can still see what's going on out there.
But it feels super exclusive.
It feels so exclusive. And, we'll do any sorts of tasting here that anybody wants. I mean, anything from the seafood tower.
She just made a seafood tower for us that's just incredible.
Amazing oysters.
I mean, we have great seafood here. Obviously, it's one of our biggest focus. It's one of my favorite things to cook. We have beautiful ocean right outside these windows right here. We bring in beautiful oysters from the East Coast, from the West Coast.
Originally?
I'm originally from Brazil.
So seafood was a big thing for you.
Big thing. Yeah. Oh, big thing. My mom used to cook seafood for us pretty frequently. And I spent many years in seafood restaurants and honing my skills with that. And cooking properly.
Right?
I did. Well, yeah, I was a kid there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 10 when my parents had their first restaurant, Art Institute.
Wait, did you say you were 10 when you what?
I was 10 when my parents had their first restaurant.
Oh, I thought you were going to say when you had your first restaurant.
Which was in Massachusetts.
Which means you worked in a restaurant when you were very young.
I did.
Every kid does.
Yeah. Oh, you did. No, you did. I mean, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if kids these days will do that anymore. Allowed, nor are they want to.
Tear away from their YouTube.
Trust me, I've got a couple kids. And
you washed a few dishes.
I washed a lot of dishes. I had burns in my hands before. Now my parents probably go to jail if that would happen. So yeah, I've been cooking pretty much my entire life and career.
We are talking to the runner-up of what season?
Hell's Kitchen 5.
Season 5. God. Is Gordon Ramsay as number one as tall as he seems and as intimidating as he seems?
Both. Does he get pissed off in the kitchen? Yes. But so do I.
It just means you're passionate.
Yeah.
That's all it means.
That's South American.
Exactly. Yeah. The blood boils from 0 to 60.
But that's true in most kitchens. I worked in kitchens. That's true in most kitchens.
I'm truly passionate about what I do, and that is real life, and that happens.
Somebody's coming in from out of town. Just got off a cruise ship. They're spending a couple days at the Ritz Carlton or whatever, whatever the reason they're here, and they have time for one dinner here. What would you tell them to get?
I will tell them to get the charred octopus. I'll tell them to get the moqueca, which is a Brazilian-style seafood dish that we do with swordfish, coconut base, sauce, and crispy yuca. And then I will tell them to finish with the donuts.
It sounds like the whole menu is just a delight for your taste buds. My gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. And, we are at the Ritz-Carlton. We're right along A1A, right across the street from the beach. And we haven't had a chance to check out the rest of the hotel yet, but we're going to do that next.
What's the website and all that stuff?
It's burlockcoast.com for the restaurant, and ritzcarlton.com for the general Ritz-Carlton site.
Well, Paula, you're a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Fun here at the Ritz-Carlton.
Appreciate it. I have a lot of fun.
Whoa, we just finished up with the Ritz-Carlton, and not only did I love our interview with Paula, she was so impressive with her passion for her food, but then I loved her food too. She gave us a seafood tower that I can't even imagine how much that would normally cost.
I had $200. It was huge.
I mean, each shrimp must have been at least $20.
I did feel guilty that I don't like seafood and didn't eat any. I felt really guilty.
So all that meant is I had to step up a little extra and take a little extra for the team.
Yeah, she had to eat one of everything.
There was stuff on top of the tower that was made with wahoo and pineapple and cilantro, and you put on these chips and
She put some of that in her pocket to take home.
I'm not even joking. Like, I made extra room. I'm not even joking. I asked for bags and buckets. I took some home. No, I didn't. But it was so good.
Yeah, you were enjoying that. Yeah, it was fun. But now we have to rush to your house to pick up your son.
Yes. So after having maybe a cocktail? No. You're driving, Glenn.
I am driving.
Okay, Glenn's driving.
We're going to pick up your son,
Yes.
and then we're heading out to
the Mai Kai. We can't wait to go see
the Polynesian show and dinner.
Yes, it's going to be a great night. His mind's going to be blown.
He
This
loves
little
theater,
6-year-old self has never
he
seen
loves
anything
theater
like
and
it.
stage stuff, so he'll have fun.
We're going to have an awesome time.
Next stop.
Woo.
Sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida lies the undisputed mecca of Polynesian restaurants, the world-famous Mai Kai. The Mai Kai has been showcasing the Polynesian culture for over 50 years. It has everything from the mystical Molokai bar to an enchanted garden to a live dinner show featuring authentic Hawaiian dancing.
We say Talapalava as we welcome you to the islands of Samoa.
We are here with Kern, and we at the Mai Kai, which has been here forever.
Yes, we opened in 1956, so we've been here 62 years.
And whose idea was this? To bring this Polynesian thing to Fort Lauderdale, of all places.
Yeah, actually it was started by two brothers, Bob and Jack Thornton, who used to come here in the 50s for spring break when they were on college.
Oh, really?
And,
so this all started as a spring break thing?
Yes.
It's the story of Florida. You come here to visit, and then you just stay. You find a reason to stay.
Exactly. And they were from Chicago. And up in Chicago, one of their favorite restaurants was Trader Ritz. And it's a similar Polynesian-style restaurant. So they graduated college, and they said, we want to open up a restaurant like that. We want it bigger and better. And we want to open it up in Fort Lauderdale because they thought that it was a booming town.
It's probably one of the better ideas that has come out of spring break here in Fort Lauderdale.
Exactly.
Certainly one of the most successful ones.
Yes. I don't know what happened during spring break, but what happened after was the good stuff.
And it's been in the family since then too, which is amazing.
Yes. Both the brothers passed away. Bob ended up buying out Jack, and he was sole owner for a few years until he passed away in '89. He left it to his wife, who now runs it with her two kids. So the next generation is running the restaurant.
And now tell us about the restaurant. What are we going to do tonight? What are we going to experience?
Well, you guys are here for dinner and the show.
Yep.
And what we have is we have a full menu ranging from our Chinese ovens, which have some...
Now, what's a Chinese oven?
Our Chinese ovens are wood-burning brick ovens, and they are styled after the old ovens they used to use in ancient China. So if you see the ovens, the design and style, they were used to heat their houses and cook in. So they're unique designs, and the wood actually creates some really neat flavors for the steaks. We have our unique Chinese steak marinade,
which is what I'll be having tonight, by the way.
Yes.
Big surprise.
And you combine that with the wood, you get a nice smoky flavor to the meat. And all of our meats we use USDA prime, so the best meat you can buy.
Best of the best. We got a nice picture of the oven while we were traveling around outside. We got a great picture of it.
Yes. There's a really neat to look at, and even neater to have a steak.
When you're in this restaurant, you don't realize you're in Fort Lauderdale. You think you're on an island someplace.
I mean, so we went around the property, and there are all these different photo op places because you're walking. It's almost like walking on an adventure. You know, there's wood bridges and all kinds of statues and music going. It makes you really forget that you're in the middle of a city.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so going back to dinner, you have the steaks. We also have a wok section where we cook lots of dinners from our Chinese woks.
Oh, cool.
We've been doing that since we
I assume
first opened.
seafood.
Yep, we got some fresh seafood. We got whole fish from whole snappers to filet snapper, mahi-mahi, fresh tuna.
With the heads on when they're served?
Yes, if you want that. We got it with the heads, or you want a filet, we have that
without
too.
the heads, okay.
Oh, my mouth is watering, let me tell you. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I don't know what I'm more excited about, dinner or the show.
All right, the show. So what about the show?
We're also here to see the show. We have a Polynesian show. As of now, we have the longest running show in the United States, including Hawaii.
Really?
Polynesian show. The last record holder was Don Ho. When he passed away, we succeeded him a couple years after, and now we're the longest running Polynesian show.
So what are we going to see in the Polynesian
our
show?
Polynesian show consists of dances from all over the Polynesian Triangle. We have dances from Hawaii, from hulas to our traditional Hawaiian wedding song dance, Tahitian dances from the Tahitian drum dance, which is a competition between the girls and the drums, to our fire night dance, which is actually the highlight of the show. And people love to come see our Samoan warriors twirl their knives of fire, also to the drums. A nice little selection of dances.
And what are we bringing Jemmy up to help with?
Absolutely nothing.
We do look for participants to get up on
Unless it
stage
involves
during the
throwing
show.
fire back at Glenn. That's the only thing I want to do.
Yes.
I have eaten fire once, and it was with a beard. That was kind of tricky.
Replay. Let's do it again tonight.
Yes. You'll probably see that tonight. Our dancers will eat the fire during that number. So yeah, that's part of the show as well.
Oh,
It's
very
exciting.
cool.
Yes,
Very
yes.
cool. You get a lot of people here. There's a lot of people here.
Yes, we have a big restaurant, so we try
With
to make
600
sure we get a
usually?
lot of people in here.
Yeah.
We have our Molokai bar right when you walk in.
Oh, it's beautiful. The
left.
Bolokai bar is so cool. The decoration is so cool.
It's decorated like the inside of an old schooner ship.
The windows.
Yes. So on the windows, water runs down the windows. And in the center of the bar, there's poles that look like masts of, like you're in the interior of one of the old schooner ships.
Honestly, if you want a full-on exciting experience for every sense, the different sections represent the different islands and all of that. So there's a full experience here.
We're going to do a lot. We're going to do some recording tonight, so we'll bring you some of the sound from the show.
Absolutely.
Everybody. So.
And one thing I haven't mentioned yet, throughout the whole time here, is our drinks.
I forgot about alcohol. What about
our
alcohol?
Tropical drinks. We have a drink menu that features over 50
I saw something in a pineapple. I want that.
We have a drink in a pineapple.
Looks like we're going to be getting some pineapples.
Categorized. We have mild drinks, medium drinks, and strong
Oh,
drinks
really?
for those adventurous, yes. So depending on your level of expertise, we've got a drink for everybody.
I like how you categorize.
Can you please tell our server, no matter what he orders, bring him something high that he's gonna go crazy.
Nice and strong. Okay.
Nice and strong.
Because our
You are
strong
driving,
drinks
right?
Are very strong. Yes.
Well, this is great. Where can people find it online?
Yes, our website is www.maikai.com, which is
That's
MAIKAI.
Maikai.com.
All right, so it is Friday, and we are headed back to Fort Lauderdale. We have hit the road again, back to Fort Lauderdale, and we had an amazing time last night. We finished up too late to really give you our impressions of Maikai, but we had so much fun there.
Basically, JoJo and I fell asleep while Jemmy drove home.
Yep, I had to drive the hour home with two sleeping guys not helping me stay awake in the slightest.
At all.
But I got us home safely.
You did.
I did. So tell them about the Maikai. I've been there before, so I'd love to hear your impressions as a first timer.
It was. I've been to a few of the luau's and Polynesian dinners and shows, and that was probably the best one I've been to because of a couple things. The atmosphere is just incredible. It has. It's just. I don't know. It's one of the most unique Polynesian restaurants I've ever been to. Because you're totally immersed. I mean, there's just stuff everywhere.
It's complete immersion, but not in a tacky way. In a way that makes you really appreciate that they appreciate the culture of all these places, and it seems very authentic. The artifacts and motif and all of that is very authentic, and it's just the wall is covered. Like you could spend 3 hours as if it was a museum, just walking around and looking at everything.
And the show, I mean, the performers were really good.
They were.
I mean, they were excellent. Even JoJo was enthralled for an hour.
Please, from start to finish. Yeah. His eyes were just wide open, mouth wide open. I took pictures. He didn't even notice I was taking his picture. He was so in tune to it. He loved it. Loved it. And yeah, one of my favorite things that we got to see actually
was the dancer guy who was ripped. I mean, I've never seen leg muscles on a human he had.
One of my favorite things to see was the look on your face when you saw.
Oh my God!
The muscles on
there were pretty women dancing too, but I think everybody in the building couldn't stop looking at that guy.
I've never seen. Seriously, if you go back to Google Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Strongman or those Mr. Universe, whatever that competition was, you see when they do those competitions, like you can see the sinewyiness of muscle, every single line. That's what it was like. This guy, it was crazy, unbelievable. Yeah, we had an absolutely fantastic time. My favorite thing to actually see, though, when you get to go outside, there's this walkway you can walk around. There's a whole garden back there. But wow, what an experience. It really is I loved it.
It is certainly unique.
Yeah.
Yep, worth seeing.
Definitely. So where are we going now?
We're going to a place called the Bonnet House, which apparently is down through... at the beach, right? Are we going back to the beach?
We're going back to the beach, just back over to the beach. So Bonnet House has been around since 1920, and it's a really old estate that's just beautiful, full of antiquities and artifacts.
Very fancy.
Very, very fancy. I mean, high-end.
We're even dressed up again
We
today.
feel like we should be wearing fancy hats. I know, there's another day without our logo t-shirts on. Yeah, we're going to be very fancy, having a good time checking out the Bonnet House. We're going to get a tour of the place, and we're really excited. So here we go.
So as we are discovering and finding the fancy in Fort Lauderdale, we couldn't do that without stopping at the Bonnet House. But I have to tell you, we also have to keep it real, okay? We're doing this interview from the caretaker's cottage because that's a little bit more our speed. But we are in a super fancy property called the Bonnet House, and we are here with Monica Estevez, right?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about yourself and about your role here at the property.
Okay, my name is Monica Estevez, and I'm the Director of Marketing here for Bonnet House Museum and Garden.
Yesterday, the earlier part of the show you heard, where we were getting the spa treatments and eating the fancy seafood and all the fancy hotels, this is right next to it. You would never know it was here.
Exactly.
It's right along A1A.
It's amazing,
It's like
isn't
a little oasis.
It is. It's exactly what it is. People come here and they're just in awe.
Now, when it was built 90 years ago, it was... There was nothing else here. It
Correct.
was just trees.
It's pretty much, Bonnet House is exactly what it looked like in the 1920s and 30s. That's really the period of significance is the 1930s. So you can see a lot of the natural trees and the 5 ecosystems and the house as it was. All we do is sort of renovate and repair what's already here.
And Richard gave us a tour. You're going to hear a little bit in a couple of minutes from him from the tour that really describes the house and who owned it and the artwork. That's
the architecture, the artwork, the details, the carousel animals in the courtyard.
Yes,
it's really very whimsical.
Yeah, I mean, what became apparent from the tour was that what was important to the people who built the house, right? What fashion and design, not necessarily fashion, but art and design, and also the natural resources. It's all built in. Everything here is, all of the natural trees and limestones and all that stuff from right around here, and they celebrate the animals, but they also celebrate the world.
Sure.
There are world travelers, and so they bring all of that here. So there's so much to see here. So obviously, we shared some of the tour, but what are the kind of things that make this place super special?
Well, what's wonderful about Bonnet House is we have the opportunity to offer a lot of programming. So we've got live music. Helen Birch was a musician, and so we have live concerts that take place January through April, once a month. We have classical music, we have jazz, we have a little Americana, a little bit of everything for everyone. Exactly. Yeah. And then we have, Frederick was the artist, so we have exhibitions here, art exhibits, and we also have an art membership, so locals can come and use the property for inspiration, and then we exhibit their works throughout Fort Lauderdale and Bonnet House. We also offer an orchid festival. Evelyn Bartlett was an avid orchid collector, as you can see everywhere. Exactly. They're beautiful. So we have an orchid festival for 2 days.
Which looks so easy to grow because there's no dirt, nothing. You just hang them there, and they look so easy to grow.
But it's so tough.
Sometimes you try too hard. If you try too hard, it doesn't work. You just have to let them grow in nature the way they like to grow. It helps to have an orchid curator as well.
Yeah.
That when the Bonnet House was built around 1920, there were no roads down here. A1A, the highway that runs along the beach, virtually didn't exist. The Sunrise Bridge wasn't built until about 1939. So all the materials that they used here, either they had to find the natural resources to use to build, or they had to be brought in by water.
Yeah.
So what they did, the family created a waterway out here, connected it to the intercoastal, and everything was brought in by barge.
Wow.
And it was hauled up here by a mule. Her name was Rosie, and she brought everything up to the building site.
Wow.
So they did use some natural materials. For instance, these obelisks, they are made from brain coral and key limestone.
Oh, very nice.
And as we go through the house, you're going to see some materials that are used repeatedly. You're going to see some themes. You're going to see Frederick Bartlett, the artist who lived here, he believed in symmetry. So we start right here, and we have 2 obelisks right outside the front door. And when we go through the door, if you look up above, there's a cowfish up there. The cowfish is an Egyptian symbol. It was to welcome you to their home, and the eye was to be able to send the evil spirits away. And you'll see there's another cowfish when we go inside the house.
Okay, I've never seen a cowfish on a house.
I've never seen a cowfish.
I think what you should do is Google it. You're going to be really surprised what it looks like.
Really?
It doesn't look like anything like that. So come on in.
Thank you. Wow, this was definitely meant to impact you when you walked in,
This is a wow factor.
Wow.
And I think when you come in here, you are like in the heart of the house. And I call it the heart of the house because the way the house is designed, it's Caribbean plantation style.
It all wraps around the center
room,
courtyard.
If you want to go from one room to another room, you must come into the courtyard.
Wow.
If you want to go up to the second level, you must go up or down an exterior
Wait a minute.
staircase.
They realize it rains in Florida, right? They realized in 1920 it rains.
Yeah. But they were, you might say, they were the first snowbirds to be down here.
This is true, yeah.
Because they only spent 2 months of the year here in the house, and it was generally in the winter
It's
time.
beautiful.
And they wanted to enjoy the beautiful weather that we all enjoy who live here and who come here in the wintertime to visit. And they wanted their guests to experience the beautiful weather as well. So it's 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, it's 2 floors. The master suites and guest rooms are on the top level. It's about 7,200 square feet. Frederick started building it when he married his second wife. Her name was Helen Birch, and she happened to be the daughter of Hugh Taylor Birch. Mr. Birch was the gentleman who came down here first time in 1893 to look at the land because he was influenced by, he went to the fair up in Chicago. It was the Columbus Exposition, celebrating the 400th year of Columbus discovering Americas. There was a man who had an exhibit there, a train car exhibit. His name was Henry Flagler. And he had all of these things that represented Florida. And he was fascinated. So he got on Henry Flagler's train car. He rode it as far as Tetersville. He rented a boat. He sailed down here. He hit a storm. He landed here on Fort Lauderdale Beach. And he thought he discovered the Garden of Eden. He mixed his own paints as well as being the artist.
Oh, really?
And he painted all kinds of surfaces. He loved to paint.
Huh.
So we're going to see, as we go through the house, we're going to see walls and ceilings and faux finishes and floors that he painted.
Where did the family wealth come from?
Well, 2 places. Frederick's father wanted him to follow into the family business. He owned a wholesale hardware business in Chicago.
Okay.
Today it's now known as True Value.
Oh, so another little thing.
Another little thing. And now the other part of the wealth was, you know, when Frederick was, some people say Frederick was lucky in love, some people say he was very unlucky in love. Unlucky because he lost his first 2 wives.
Yeah.
Lucky because every time he remarried a woman who was more wealthy than the previous woman.
Oh.
but the family
I feel like I may have tried those
cocktail.
before, yeah.
And they called it the Rangpur Lime Cocktail, and they would serve it to their guests in the bamboo bar, which we're going to see a little bit later.
Sound like my people.
So it was really good. I went to a dinner party one time, and they served Rangpur limes, and I got to say, it was really delicious. It tastes like cream soda, and the second one was even better.
Oh, yeah, that works.
We are open year-round, and we're open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. First tour at 9:30 and last tour at 3:30.
Is there a website?
Yes, bonnethouse.org. Be sure to visit us at bonnethouse.org.
Well, we just got done not too long ago at the Bonnet House, and we had they were all so nice.
They were.
They were so nice, and it's such a cool place, and it's so relaxing after all the running around we've done.
Oh my gosh, it's a little oasis, just like you said, yeah.
It is. And they have apparently, and I would love to see this, they apparently have a Christmas special program in the beginning of December where they decorate the whole place.
Yes. I'm going to try to make it up, because it's not that far from me, so I'm definitely going to try to make it out and take some pictures and go visit. And Monica said I could come, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, definitely do it.
We're going to share it with you guys.
Now, we are sitting right now on the Jungle Queen.
Yes, the Jungle Queen.
Paddle boat we're going to be taking out tonight for dinner.
Big old riverboat. So excited. There's a private island we're going to go to.
And it's fancy because we're going to be seeing all the $1 million yachts and the $1 million homes that are down here at Fort Lauderdale. So that's kind of cool.
And we have a private show we're going to get to see. And we got wristbands that make us feel special and drink tickets.
That's what she's most happy about. But on the way here, we went back to the Westin because we were hungry right after seeing that we hadn't had lunch. We went, so we thought, let's go back to one of the hotels that we were at yesterday.
Yeah, it was easy because we did the whole hotel hop thing yesterday. So we were right along the beach, and as we were walking from one hotel to another, something caught our eye. Yeah. This cute little restaurant called Lona, right there with a great view of the beach, and it's actually part of Westin. So we thought, well, why not go back?
That's right. They were so good to us yesterday. We thought we'd support them, and we went back and had some Mexican and some drinks.
So
and
good.
Had an absolutely beautiful view of the beach. So that was nice. And we did that on the way here, and I highly recommend Lona, actually, if you're down here on A1A.
You know what? You had some pork-based taco things that were so well seasoned. Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering just talking about it again, to be honest with you.
Everything was good there.
It was delicious. Yep. And then we also shared some enchiladas. So I recommend those too.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then now we're on the boat. We're getting ready to head out on the paddle boat.
And I may or may not have another drink in my hand.
No, I think she does.
Apparently getting fancy involves some liquor. At least it does for me.
It'll be another late night tonight for us, and we'll check in a little bit later from the as we're sailing along.
Now imagine cruising on something extraordinary for a day or night. Something memorable, like the world-famous Jungle Queen, a riverboat cruise, where sightseeing, dinners, and entertainment are indescribable, where you can enjoy things visitors have been enjoying since 1935. No wonder over 18 million people from all over the world have discovered it. But then, there's always room for one more. Go ahead. Paint your own canvas. Jungle Queen. Not just Florida famous, world famous.
We are here on the Jungle Queen's private island. We are kicking it up in Fort Lauderdale, finding the fancy, and there's nothing fancier than taking a riverboat, there it is back there, a riverboat down a small little river that feels very quaint and private on its own, called the New River, and seeing all the yachts and the huge mansions, and then you end up on this private island from the Jungle Queen. Now, what we're doing right now, we did their nighttime tour, which takes us along the New River and explores all the fancy homes and properties and yachts and things. Multi-bazillion owned by Walgreens, owned by Bell, Taco Bell, owned by all these people. So Anheuser-Busch. So then it takes you from there to this private island where they treat you to a really delicious barbecue dinner. It was really, really good. And we got free drink tickets.
Animals. They have lemurs over there.
So they have rescued animals here. One of the cutest ones that I saw so far are the lemurs that are in the far cage, and they were adorable. There were 3 hopping all around and doing their thing. And I don't know what else we're gonna see a show tonight, guys.
Right.
I'm not sure what's in the show, but whatever it is, it's gonna be very exciting. We're really happy to be here. And I think the tour goes about to 10 o'clock. So it starts, we kicked off at 6. Just a little tip, if you're going to be going on the Jungle Queen riverboat cruise, which we highly recommend, by the way, then make sure you show up about an hour before departure because it takes that long to get on the boat.
It's crowded.
It was crowded. But once you get on the boat, you're smooth sailing. There's a bar on the boat. Hello, you know I love that.
Jenny has had a few at this point.
Don't tell my parents. So we had a great time. So we highly recommend the Jungle Boat Cruise.
Now, thank you all for coming. I really enjoyed y'all. Could I get up here?
Well, here we are on day 3 of our Finding the Fancy in Fort Lauderdale. We're in the car again because it is a road trip, and we're heading back for the 80th time to Fort Lauderdale.
A road trip back and forth to Fort Lauderdale.
That's right. So we had a great time last night. It was so much fun. I got to tell you all about the trip back on the Jungle Queen on the New River, which was by all the very ritzy houses and the mega yachts.
Owned by billionaires, guys.
And at night, because everybody had eaten their barbecue and they had spent some time watching the entertainments. We had a couple of comedians
having some drinks
on the private island. Everybody was having some drinks, including us, especially Jemmy. And we were all a little mellow on the way back on the boat, but it was so serene. And they just played music and they didn't talk.
They didn't do the tour part. It was just the letting us take in the atmosphere.
It was a beautiful night. It was about a half an hour. It was quiet. There were so many people. One of the things that struck me about that was they've been doing that tour, as he said, for like 80 years. So everybody that lives along there has been seeing that tour for 4 times a day, every day for 80 years, ever since they've all lived there.
Yeah.
So they all think it's pretty cool.
And they're all out on their back patio, by the pool, cooking, grilling, and whatever.
Waving.
And they're waving like crazy.
There were people waving from inside their houses as we went by last night, which was pretty interesting.
There were dogs showing off. So there's certain dogs that have learned to do tricks because they get applause. So this one dog we heard about, he didn't come out and see, but he apparently runs up a tree. But the one dog I did get to catch, I don't know if you saw him because I was actually coming back down with drinks, but he was running and he would jump a fence into another house lawn and then run back and jump the fence again. And
apparently the owner brings him out 4 times a day when the ship goes by to show off. So it's funny. Kind of cool how the people who live along there have really accepted this tour boat full of people.
And I always like where there's an experience that makes you feel like you're kind of getting to know, even if you don't really talk to anybody else, you're kind of getting to know the same people because you're all in a group, you know? We sat by the same girls that we were in line near, and then later we kept running into them by the animal exhibit. So it's just kind of this funny thing that happens. I loved it. And it was a great experience, especially with the quiet way it comes back. Guys, listen up closely. If you want an awesome date, the Jungle Queen is an awesome date because it is so romantic on the way back.
And let me talk a little bit about the magician, because I've seen a lot. I owned an acting company. We had a lot of magicians. We've been through magicians for a lot of years. And I've seen every magic trick, and I've performed some. This guy was great because he was kind of the un-magician. He couldn't do any of the tricks. So it was very funny. It was funny. Hilarious because he was the un-magician.
The comedy was him messing up
all of the tricks. It was hilarious because it's the thing, after you've watched a magic trick 100 times, you want to see them mess it up.
Right.
And he was doing everything you want to see a magician do.
Really good.
Yeah, he really took that and ran with it.
And we had a ventriloquist. All the acts were really great. And we actually ended up, I wanted to go see some more of the animals again before we got back on the boat. So we walked away from the very last act, but we could hear what was going on, and it was the Polynesian music. It was very similar to what they do at the Maikai. It was a quick Polynesian dance performance and exhibit, and the crowd, they were so into it. It was really cool. So all the acts that you're going to see when you go on the Jungle Queen are just phenomenal. You'll be super entertained.
And we found out that lemurs are really like Jemmy.
Let that mean whatever you want it to mean.
They took a liking to Jemmy, the lemurs did.
I am the animal whisperer after all.
Yes, you are. You do seem to attract them.
So where are we headed now? We are headed back to Fort Lauderdale for what, Glenn?
We are going to the Bee Ocean Hotel.
Yes.
Which is there's a lot of bee hotels here in Florida. And we are going on special invitation.
Oh my gosh, Christina Lynch, we love you for being so patient with us.
Yes, I know. This took a while to get put together. We apologize for that. But the Bee Hotel does something that you don't see anywhere else in South Florida, I don't think.
I don't think so.
And that is they do a mermaid show in their restaurant. They have a tank with the mermaids in their restaurant. Now, the later show, which... my fault. I didn't think I could stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning tonight. The later show is a burlesque mermaid show where they apparently take things off. Yes, it's burlesque. We don't get to see the burlesque one, and that probably makes my wife very happy tonight.
But you can.
Yes,
you can always go and check it out.
Show. We're seeing the 8:30 show, which is more of the family version of the mermaid show.
And we're going to be talking to one of the stars, Marina, and I'm really excited to find out from her how they do it, because apparently this is a tankless performance. They don't go under there with equipment for breathing. They just hold their breath and go into the water, and I'm super excited to find out how she does that. How does she train, and why is she crazy enough to think it was a good idea in the first place? We're really excited. We're gonna have a great night, and let's go see some mermaids.
Everyone, I am Aquaticats Tootsie Howie. Welcome to the world famous Rec Bar. No, see, you guys are at the mermaid show. Welcome to the world famous Rec Bar. Better. Well, a little bit of history on the hotel if you've never been here before. The hotel's been here since about the 1950s. Back in the good old days. It was featured in a little movie called Where the Boys Are. And it made Fort Lauderdale famous for, can anyone guess for what? Spring break. We were actually the capital of spring break for many, many years. It was originally called the Yankee Clipper. And now it's trivia night. Can anyone mention, or can anyone tell me, the famous sports star of the time that shared the same name as our hotel? Crickets? Oh, they don't win the $5,000 prize. Kenny? Joe DiMaggio, yes. Winner, winner, winner. They call them the Yankee Clipper. And Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe were rumored to have carved their initials on this bar. They all hung out here, sitting in the very same seats that you guys are sitting with. All those celebrities of the time. This is a little time capsule. It has been unchanged since then. The hotel's gone under many renovations, but you guys are actually sitting in the same bar. There's only 4 porthole pools in the entire country. You are in the best, of course, the Rec Bar, and the other one is the Sip and Dip in Great Falls, Montana. There's 2 that have shows. So if you're ever in the Montana area and you think mermaids, because that's what I think when I go to Montana, that would be like us opening up a ski lodge. Anyways, go check them out. They're really, really awesome. But what you will see here tonight, as Aquaticats, we stay true to the swimmers of that great era. So you will see no nose plugs, no air hoses, no goggles, 0 common sense. We get a little crazy.
We're at the Bee Ocean, and we're with Marina.
Aloha and ahoy.
Hi, it's so good to be here. We just saw the Mermaid Show, which is one of very few in the country.
That is correct, and you saw one of 3 kinds of shows that we have here. The MeduSirena Swim Show, which I started 12 years ago in an effort to preserve aquatic performances, figure swimming, and the Porthole Bar Spectacular.
So at what point did you come out of the water and decide to do a show for us average people?
Oh gosh. Well, I've been a free diver since age 3. So that kind of started the whole thing. My father, he kind of influenced me to start freediving in order to see animals a little more clearly, let's just say. So if I stayed below for an extended period of time, fish that would normally be shy would start to make an appearance.
Okay, I got to ask where you're from if you're saying.
Oh, yes, Caribbean, West Indies. I was born in Vieques, raised in Puerto Rico, so I've been in the Caribbean most of my life. Yes.
Very cool. And this show celebrates some Polynesian roots.
Correct.
So how
the
does
dinner
all of that
show,
tie together?
yes. Well, the dinner show is a South Sea spectacular of sorts. I wanted wanted it to be an homage to the original Polynesian show that used to take place here at the old Yankee Clipper, the original hotel that did open here.
And this hotel does look like a cruise ship.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
And the whole idea behind the hotel itself was to provide an attraction in which you didn't feel like you had to exit the hotel to experience the amenities of world travel. So you would go upstairs to the Polynesian room, watch a beautiful Polynesian show. It was quite remarkable at the time. Come down to the rec bar, watch stand-up acts and musical acts, all taking place within the bar. And once in a while, they'd have this beautiful woman swimming across the windows and such.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so you are the originator of this show. Tell us about how you started it and why and where this crazy idea came from.
Well, back in 2006, I was working at the Maikai at the time. I was a Maikai dancer for
We were there the other
Yes,
night.
oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's my old alma mater there. And people kept telling me about this bar, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to check this out at some point. And I had some time off after I had my son, so I walked in and I found this beautiful underwater porthole bar, just as people described.
When they were not using it, it was just water?
Correct. It was there. The bar was still, nautical and whatnot, but it wasn't being
An
used for
empty tank?
entertainment.
It wasn't meeting its full potential.
It had regular bathers, which
Okay.
that can be entertaining in some respects. But, I
Yeah,
kind of thought
not so
I saw a
much.
little something different. But I could.
There's no show aspect to it.
There could be a show, but that's kind of not what we wanted to convey. I really wanted that legacy of porthole pools to reflect back to its original intention, which was really the first porthole bars of this tour originated here in Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
They were influenced by Weeki Wachee Springs.
Weeki Wachee, which is,
Yes, which was the catalyst for all of these places. Yeah.
These girls
Yeah.
work without any breathing tubes at all, which a
Correct.
lot of the mermaids I've seen around, Wiki Wachee and stuff, they use them, right?
Certainly. Well, there are two very different ways in which people swim in these conditions. In Weeki Wachee Springs, you are in an active spring. The temperature is very low. You're 15 feet below and lower. And you're very animated. You're doing lip sync acts. You're doing a lot of stuff. So your heart rate naturally is going to get faster, and you're going to need oxygen. So it is extremely practical for them. And as you notice, their swim style is very different than ours. Ours is very slow and methodical because we're based on very long breath holds, because we can in this scenario.
Okay, how long is the breath hold?
Long enough for you to worry. And long enough to get paid.
Let me tell you, one of my lungs is bad, so I'm very sensitive to being able to hold your breath underwater and everything. So when I'm watching a show like this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. Do these girls have scuba background?
No, not at all.
Where does the lung capacity and the exercise, how do they train for this?
I train
Without drowning.
Well, I train them. A lot of them have, some of them have swimming backgrounds. That certainly comes in handy. But to tell you the truth, my best swimmers are ones that don't have, some of them are were lifeguards or maybe synchronized swimmers or competitive swimmers. Those have the hardest time adjusting.
Yeah, because you have to deprogram them for
exactly.
a second, right?
You're used to speed and being on the surface. This is going slow and being below. And so it's always nice to work with a blank slate and kind of start them from from the bottom.
They
Pun
have to be
intended.
under there for 2 minutes plus.
We love that you think that, and that's good, because that
part
means
of
that
the
we're doing our
illusion,
job. Well, it's sometimes we do. My breath holds are pretty long, but
How
that's,
long would you have you
again,
been
I
maxed
never,
out? Yeah.
I try not to time them, and honestly, the reason I don't is. If you're thinking about it, it's like a washed pot never boils.
Right.
I would rather just know that I can go to this location, and do this maneuver. Or I have a tendency to stay until the end of a phrase of a song. And sometimes it's longer than I care for it to be, but I'll stay. You gotta stay. Oh,
and
the breath
hold our
hold phase
nose.
is a game changer. If anybody comes to audition and they cannot look natural and comfortable, I cannot use them.
And hot. Let's throw in hot.
Well, it helps for them to be good looking.
You can tell which one of us is really jazzed to come here tonight.
Sure, but
Well, there is a burlesque show next. Now, did that always exist, or was
No, it
that
did
your
not.
brainchild?
It was something I've wanted here for a very long time. And of course, that's a tough sell because it seems such an abstract concept.
Well, it's a tough sell for corporate management of a hotel like this.
Certainly, yes. And I'm really glad that the folks at the B Ocean were open to it. I certainly like doing comedy because, again, it's burlesque. In a burlesque situation, we get zany. We have one swimmer who brings her trumpet. It's hilarious. That's what burlesque
Underwater?
is. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Do bubbles come out the end?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And it's just very, the whole idea of burlesque is not only the aspects that people recognize as far as the sexy, but there's also parody and comedy and satire.
What's the website?
Really
How can
spoiled.
people find out more about the show and
certainly.
come see you guys?
If you go, you could do one of several things. You could either go to the B Ocean website, of course, and ask there. We have a Rec Bar fan page on Facebook. The Rec Bar.
Yeah.
If you want to find out what I'm doing with my Aquaticats, look up MeduSirena. That's MEDUSIRENA. MeduSirena as in Medusa, Sirena, which is mermaid.
Absolutely,
Medusa
yeah.
mermaid.
Because it does look like some snakes floating
They
in the water.
do, particularly mine. Mine are kind of scary. Well, my mom called me Medusa as a kid, so MeduSirena just kind of happened, and that became my my title. Yeah.
Now, is it reservation for all the shows or just the burlesque show?
I'm sorry?
Is it reservation for all the shows or just the burlesque show?
Well, we have 3 shows. The first show is at 6:30. That's pretty much a family-oriented show. You don't want to come with your kids. It's early enough. You have a cocktail or 3. Enjoy your dinner or whatever. And that's a nice, easy one to come in and enjoy. The 8:30 is the Polynesian swim show. So it has a different feel. It has a different theme. The music, you can hear it's Polynesian. You feel like you're in the South Seas.
Yeah, you do.
It's pretty nice. And, of course, they have a dinner menu, which is fantastic. And then the Aqua Burlesque, which is at 10:45. The Aqua Burlesque and the dinner show are the ones that we recommend reservations for.
Very good. Well, and you can find it again. Go to the Be Ocean website.
Absolutely.
And you'll find it there. Go to Facebook.
Oh my gosh, so we have just left Be Ocean and the lovely marina and her mermaids and the amazing food and all of that. And we thought, what better way to end our road trip back and forth to Fort Lauderdale than to drive out of Fort Lauderdale for the last time through Las Olas Boulevard. Now,
and you can hear it.
You can hear it. So Las Olas Boulevard is full of fun and high-end shops, high-end restaurants, high-end people wearing high-end fashion. So this is just the way to cap off our fancy time. A few parties. But we just had some of the fanciest food I've ever had. I had a whole soft-shell crab, entire one. It was a full soft-shell crab, which is huge. It must have been a good 6 to 8 inches across. It was massive. And then I had an actual tentacle of a full tentacle of an octopus.
Large octopus.
And it was delicious. Both of them were so good. And then Glenn, of course, beef eater he is, ordered some Kobe beef sliders, which were,
really
he let me
good.
taste, they were yummy.
Yep.
I love,
knows how to make food.
I know. It was really, really good. So we recommend Be Ocean, obviously, for their food and for their incredible mermaid show.
I'm very sorry I couldn't give you a complete report on the Burlesque Mermaid Show.
But he has closed his eyes and imagined the whole thing.
I have, many times.
Expect a bonus report later. And another thing about the Be Ocean, it was very busy in the lobby in a good way. It was like full of energy and there was something going on. Yeah. I mean, Fort Lauderdale has proven to be an atmosphere full of energy and fun. I can't wait to see all the other ways that we can explore this area in the future. And what was really interesting that we did when we went to Mai Kai, from going to the Jungle Queen and to going here at Be Ocean and seeing their mermaids, we almost could have done a whole theme about finding Polynesia. Yes, there was a lot of Polynesian influences when we were finding our fancy with this trip. So we have had just a great time, and this is an awesome night to end our time with.
And we'll be back with the wrap show in a couple of seconds. Well, now it is time for our wrap-up portion of our adventure episode. We do this a couple days later at the end of every adventure and kind of just review after we've had a couple days to think about it.
Reflect, review, and recover.
That's right, recover. But this one was partly recover, actually. So,
even though I'm convinced we did it wrong. We started off with the spas and treated our feet very nicely, and then we did all the other things.
Yeah, we should have ended with the spa, actually.
We should have.
That is true. That is true. Well, I have a whole new appreciation, and I do have a new view of Fort Lauderdale, because I was one of those people that only viewed Fort Lauderdale as the party town.
I don't know what my favorite was on this one. I was really having a hard time because the things we did were so different,
Well, we got to incorporate your 6-year-old in one of them, which was fun for both of us.
I take it back. That probably was my favorite then. Just him being there.
Yeah. I mean, he really enjoyed the show. He
totally
had fun
scared of the
there.
dark at Mai Kai at first because it's
Yes,
dark.
he was terrified. And this is the kid that watches the weirdest videos ever, and he was scared of the dark at the restaurant. Think about that, Mom.
Yeah, I know. I know. I got to check his playlist on YouTube.
But once the show started, he was fascinated. I mean, he was into it. And obviously for you, the food had to be a big part of this. It
was. I mean, gosh, shrimp to the left of me, crab to the right of me. It was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I thought I died and gone to heaven.
Octopus too.
Awesome. Yes, that whole, I got a whole tentacle
a tentacle.
And it looked like an octopus tentacle, too. They didn't try and hide it at all. It's just on the plate there.
No, it was so good. I feel sorry for your taste buds. They had a traumatic
What are we doing Finding
something.
Texas? Because I think I would do better there, actually. We did have barbecue the one night. That helped me out. Well, after the Jungle Queen. Or during the Jungle Queen ride, we had some barbecue, so that helped. I got some ribs anyway.
He did.
But for a seafood lover, it is a paradise.
Oh, gosh. Paula Da Silva and that seafood tower. I'm still dreaming about it, So good.
You wanted to take it home, except it wouldn't have kept in your purse.
No, I know. That's the bad thing about seafood. You got to eat it then or forget about it. I loved every single second of
I do have one regret from this trip, and that's that we weren't able to see the burlesque mermaid show with the new mermaids.
No, you missed some boobs. Upset. I know you were really upset about the missing boobs.
I was. The only reason we didn't is it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and we had to drive home.
I know.
And we were pretty tired by that time.
It was the very last thing on our trip, so we deserve a break.
I liked on this one actually being able to enjoy everything: the full tours, the full shows, being able to enjoy the full dinners, the cocktails, everything we got to do. I really liked that we got to do the whole thing this time, which was different for us, and it was fun.
And it was interesting, how we talk about how Fort Lauderdale went through obviously a party period, and that's they're trying to leave that whole thing behind. But when we got to go to the Bonnet House and see the history of that place and the culture that surrounded how they built up that house and why they built that estate and all of that, and you realize this has kind of been a flavor of Fort Lauderdale since the beginning, that there's this fancy, they really appreciated and felt good about being in this wonderful new world here in Florida. And, that kind of attitude carries through now. I think every single thing that we saw that was fancy, and they geared it around the things that make Fort Lauderdale naturally amazing, like the Jungle Boat Queen, going down the river and going on the private island, the hotels and how they talk about being part of the beach life and that whole experience. So everything kind of ties into just the natural loveliness that is our lovely state here. I'm so proud to be where we're from.
So now you went to high school in Fort Lauderdale.
I did.
And now you've gone back, and you really probably spent more time over the last weekend than you have in a long time as far as straight time in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Were you proud of the new Fort Lauderdale?
Very much so. I mean, when you're a kid and you go to high school there, and first of all, there's only so much you can get into anyways. You're underage for most of it, right? But still, there was a certain feel. I went to school during the whole party atmosphere time of Fort Lauderdale. So to see what it's become now, and to see, when we talked to Ari and who works with the business bureau there, and to see what they're really doing to revitalize the area, and everyone's coming together. It's so cooperative, and it's just there's a freshness to Fort Lauderdale now. The beach is just gorgeous. It's pristine and clean, and the businesses are super modern and eclectic and fun, and there's a vibrancy there. So it's a place that you'll want to go and just spend a lot of time, spend a lot of money, treat yourself, and find fun things to do. I am so proud of what Fort Lauderdale has become. Absolutely, 100%.
Well, I don't think we can say anything more. Get down and experience yourself. Go find your fancy in Fort Lauderdale. The only thing I can say is my toes are still amazingly clean.
Super soft. They're just loving me right now. They're dying for me to go back to the heavenly spa. I got to go. I've made a promise to them. I got to fulfill it.
We have some thanks to give here, though, for everybody to help make this happen.
Oh, 100%. So starting with Ari Glassman, I just want a major shout out to her from myfortlauderdalebeach.com. She was just such a help and helped us really put that whole hotel hop tour part of the adventure together, and just was solid. Great introduction to the day.
Also from Visit Lauderdale, Ivonne&nbsp helped us out and really got us into all of these places. And thank you to her. She was so helpful. And
she sent us very official looking VIP passes. They look like little credit cards. They're very cool.
Yvonne, I'd make sure you get those back, because I think Jimmy's going to be keeping those for about a year.
Shh, don't give her any ideas. And also big thanks to Christina Lynch. She's over at B Hotels and Resorts, and she's the one who hooked us up with the amazing time that we had at the rec bar and checking out the mermaids and meeting MeduSirena. So thank you to her for that. It was a trial to get us out there, we know. So thank you for all your patience, Christina.
That's it, everybody. We will be back again next month, and we're heading to a different part of the state, aren't we?
We're going to Tallahassee. I can't wait. I've wanted to go to Tallahassee forever. I've never been ever to Tallahassee. I can't even believe I'm admitting that, but it's true. So I'm really excited.
Of course, it's our capital and the home of the government of the state of Florida.
That's right.
And I've never been there either. So this is going to be an adventure for both of us.
It's true. And it's going to be hot. So we're probably going to be doing a lot of museums and stuff. So we're going to make it fun and try not to die of heat exhaustion.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do all summer and still live through the summer. So
I know. But one of the cool
we're
things...
going to find the inside of Florida.
Yeah, but one of the cool things is their museum, their big one, actually has a whole outdoor attraction up for zip lining. So we'll definitely be getting ourselves outside for that, for sure.
Yeah, my shoulder's better, so we can actually do some things.
Yeah, we're sick of your excuses, Glenn. First it was my broken ribs. I fell off a tram. Then it was I need surgery for my... Enough. This is an adventure show.
You can find all of the past episodes at findingfloridapodcast.com. You can see all of our pictures. Please do head on over there. We took a lot of pictures we took a lot of pictures this time, but we do every single, there's like pages of pictures.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
And there's so much fun to see what we talked about. Now you've heard what we talked about. Take a couple minutes and check it out. I know it's like looking at the family's photo album, but
these are a lot
we're more fun
entertaining.
than that. You know why? Because we're not your family. So it's a lot more fun to see the pictures. And we want you to be involved. We want to hear your ideas. Drop an email to
Jaime, Jaime at floridapodcastnetwork.com.
We want to hear your ideas. If you want us to come to your town, if you have a great idea about your town, drop us an email. We'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
And you can find us where all the places that normal podcasts are found, and also on the Horse Radio Network app. You can go to iOS or Android and search for Horse Radio Network. Finding Florida is one of the shows on there. It's simple. It's easy to listen to.
That's right. We're in iTunes. We're all your podcatchers. And find us on social media. You can look us up at Find FL Podcast. We look forward to getting your reviews and your comments and interacting with you all over the interwebs. But for now...
here's to your next adventure.